What do you think happened? What went wrong in that relationship, according to you? Because you said you're going to speak on your perspective.
Of course. I think it's almost close to what I was explaining about expiring relationships, but in a different manner. You know, where you meet and you have a common goal. You know, but one of the common goals is understanding each other's pain when you meet. You know, and I told you like how much of a fixer and a pleaser I try to be. So the fixer and the pleaser in me gets attracted to someone who needs fixing. You know, and so it becomes our common thing because I think she's the same.
Love language.
You know, where we like, oh, you and me, like we, you know, and then as you progress, because we want different things when we grow.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I want, me personally, is to give that dusty little boy as many hugs as I can and reassure him and make sure he's seen. You know, which is why I'm doing all the internal work that I'm trying to do.
100%.
And that changes me into a different human being as we grow into the relationship. You know, so I think I can safely say that we both started like wanting different things.
So you'd say you agree each other?
If I can't say we, I'll say definitely I did.
So you agree each other?
I'll say that. You know, over time we started wanting different things and then problems starts. You know, like that's why today I know for a fact that I won't get married again.
For real?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm clear about that because I am now in a better space in understanding who I am, and I also understand the kind of pressure society puts you in without ever backing you up. You know, it's like growing up, you know, young girls are told, hey, yekabafana. You know, when the girl's 26, the mother are like, where are the kids? You know, we want grandkids, and then she have kids, and then she's on her own. Society does that. So with my career, especially because it wasn't so obvious, meaning I wasn't going to get a degree and go be a lawyer.
Yeah.
It was very unclear.
Yes.
But as soon as it pops, and they're like, oh, damn. So I bought my first house. You know, I'm driving a little Benz. They're like, when are you getting a wife? You know, and it keeps playing. And it keeps playing. I remember, Christos's ex-wife used to make that joke, you know, because she was doing my bookings and I would go to Europe and she's like, hi, we need Makoti. We need Makoti. As a joke, but that thing sits, you know.
It plays in your head.
And then it becomes your next thing. You know, like you're like, okay.
Not so bad.
I'm looking for...
But you got inspired by Thabo that time when you visited him, seeing him, how he interacted with his wife.
Tibos.
Oh, was it Tibos?
Yes.
But that's part of what society, you know, that's like...
So did the pressure happen after that or before already?
So where I'm going is when you grow up as a kid, what family is to everyone is what Thabo and his wife are.
Yes. Yeah, Tibos.
Ideal picture.
So you fit into that picture too.
The system.
Yeah. And my understanding now is not everyone needs to. That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying I know for sure.
But don't you think...
Especially given my career, my lifestyle, and just, you know, I'm not saying I don't like... I have someone.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm in such a most peaceful
place.
You know? And with that understanding as well that there's no pressure. You know, let's structure this thing the way we want it to be.
But don't you think infidelity had to play in your marriage?
Yes and no. because that comes, first of all, there's so many unrealistic conversations we're not having as people. So many. And one of them is we all grow up around uncles.
Yes.
As men.
Sure.
Yeah.
Who, it's a norm.
100%.
True.
In Venda, you're not a man unless you have 3. Yeah?
He's telling us things. He's telling us things now. What's your girl's name, Naledi? Naledi. I don't like you anyway. He has other 2 girls somewhere. Making up shit about me. So it's a norm, like, it's just like a normal thing where it's seen. Like, we grow up knowing, like, they send us to their other chicks, number one. So, and even the most people who will speak about it on social media are doing it. So everything is a norm, and we're not having that real conversation.
100%,
right?
I agree.
And then the second conversation is, because of that, I feel like women are also not having an honest conversation about what or who men are. So you come and tell your mom and your aunts that I met this guy, or he only loves me, and no one says, actually. Everyone's like, yeah, la, la. Yeah. But they know what's going to happen, which is, it's going to happen for sure. So in my relationship, growing into it and starting to experience the things that I was experiencing in it, it didn't matter anymore. Where I was like, okay, this is where we are. This is what I want to do. Which is also one of the most important conversations I'm having in my life about self-destruction. Where you have something, but you are not, you don't feel you deserve it.
Oof, that's deep. That's deep.
Yeah, you don't feel you deserve it. So
imposter syndrome.
Yeah, you low-key want to destroy it before it happened on its own.
I feel like I feel like that about this podcast every day.
You understand what I'm saying? Stay with me. What's her name?
Michelle.
Yeah. Please, we need you. Because it's real, that thing. It's real. And so it's a mix of so many things. And like I said, I do not want to speak about my ex's inputs.
Yeah.
And her flaws and imperfections.
But how do you feel when what just came out recently, the fact that she was also cheating during your marriage and the voice notes being played?
I don't know. I mean, I feel, because I know the human being that she is, I feel sad for her, if anything. There's nothing to celebrate there. Because, like I said, we walked in together knowing the kind of people that we are and the kind of help that we need. So I feel like sad, and the guy who likes fixing things in me wish I can fix it for her. Do you understand? But God gives us our own challenges and our own lessons. So we all get to learn.
So would you say your marriage was like an open marriage, open relationship?
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. But because of the dynamics of how we are as human beings, you asked me already about my infidelity, and then you then say, how about her and her cheating in your marriage? So you didn't include her when you were asking me. You understand what I mean? Because it's always one-sided.
100%.
Yeah.
So things are never approached right in relationships. A man is always the one that everyone will go for first. And in this situation, what I've chosen to do from the beginning, even at the hardest of times, is I want my kids to be able to watch this thing when they're 16, 18, 21.
60.
And not cringe, you know. I don't think, man, Dad, why would you go there and speak like that?
How were the kids affected during this whole thing?
I mean, kids are kids, you know. So you won't know how much they're exposed to it, you know. But we are actively, like, equally making sure that, you know, they are in a good space and they're taken care of.
Yeah.
You know, in every way that we can.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
You know.
And I mean, as men, we work for our kids. That's it. For our family. That's it. Without that, we are nothing, bro.
Yeah.
How did that impact you when you were going to court? Because to be honest, I never followed that story.
Yeah.
I just saw images, you know, of her being like Winnie Mandela and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like, what is happening there? Like,
Yeah, it was so tough, man, for me, you know, to even be in the room, just to sit in court and, you know, I wasn't even thinking about the outcome. I was like, what am I doing here?
Sure.
You know, why am I the one here in court? Why? You know, because in court also you don't speak for yourself. So your lawyer will speak for you. But there was so much pain in me that day in that room.
she accused you of GBV.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. So being in that room, I was like, and it's an important conversation to have because there's a lot of these stories, but what makes me sad is how it always becomes about men versus women. You know, our job as men is to protect women.
100%.
Yeah.
You know, so when then it becomes men versus women, then men are more angry and they're likely to cause more harm to women. And I watched the tweets and the room was divided, you know, after my tweet. Like, men are like, fuck her, fuck her, fuck her. So that fuck her is not to her alone. It's fuck her to the women.
Gender, yeah.
Gender.
Because this gender that you are will put us through this thing.
Tallest more episode.
You know, so if anything was to happen to a guy who said, fuck her, he will react in an unlikely way. But what's supposed to be happening is we are supposed to have a decent conversation about things that are uncomfortable, which is this thing.
Yeah.
You know, where it's not based on people like, oh, I never liked black coffee. And that's it.
Yeah.
Therefore, he's guilty. It shouldn't be
Based on
about
emotion.
that. It should be about how are we building a more sustainable environment where we both protect each other.
So you've never laid a hand on her? Ever? Jeez.
So, I mean, it's so simple because if that had happened, it would have been in our divorce papers. Right? Because that's when you are like, this man, I'm leaving, and this man has done this and this and this and this. So it would have been part of that conversation.
Are you guys in commutual what?
No, we're not.
Oh.
No. Our thing is not complicated.
When divorce takes so long, like what's the holdup?
I don't know actually.
Nah.
Yeah. But we also had 2 years of COVID.
Oh yes.
You know, and then a backlog and you know, all those things.
Do you miss her though?
Of course.
Nah.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we shared so much. Man.
You have children together.
Yeah, and I mean, naturally, you know, I just spoke about a woman I was dating in varsity.
Yes.
You know, anyone you're going to share those kind of memories with, they are part of your life.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah.
Are you
Would you ever
speaking
get,
terms now? Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes and no.
Okay.
You know, especially after what happened. So it's easier to have a more controlled environment. So it's emails. Hey.
Emails.
Yeah.
That's cold, bro.
No, it's best.
Sure.
Because it's best for the kids as well.
What do you email her? I'm outside to pick up the kids.
I did yesterday.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, for real.
Or what is it to keep proof of whatever?
No, I'm just saying.
communication?
There's a paper trail.
Okay, so yeah,
Jeez, that's wild.
I woke up early and I was like, let me take my kids to school. So I'm like, hi. And what's so crazy is like, I'm going to take the kids to school today. And then she wasn't responding. And then I fell asleep. And then my phone was ringing.
Yeah.
That's what helped me, because I would have said, I'm coming, and then I wouldn't come.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So
Yeah, so I quickly went and took the kids.
So she replied, yes, come get them.
No, she responded.
That's wild.
No, it's best.
Yeah.
It's best because we've done everything else. We've had mediators, we've done everything else. And
So picking up the phone and calling will not be good.
Not now. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I believe in processes as well. I just like to avoid things. Like you said this, no, I didn't. You know, like me ending up in court. You know, so this is the best way for everyone.
Did you have kids out of wedlock?
I did.
You did? Oh, wow.
Yeah, I did. I have 2 kids. Most amazing. They live with me. And, you know, that's when you also realize that everything has its own just way of happening.
Yeah.
Because I think if it didn't happen, we both would have stayed in an extremely unhealthy,
toxic
marriage. And so when it happened, you know, I went home and said, this is what's happening.
Jeez,